Hi, everybody.
Hello.
This is my husband, Colin. I was getting ready for the show. I had every intention of taking callers, and I looked at him. I said, well, you're not doing anything tonight. Why don't you join me on the show, and I'll interview you. And when I ask, you don't generally say no, do you?
Not too often.
Yeah, you're a good man. The whole reason why I wanted to bring Colin on the show is he has been such an amazing part of my journey with me, and I wanted to interview him. I've heard from a lot of gals and some men that mostly girls though that are on their own little journey, and they just are looking for ways to get their husband to understand their journey, to explain to a man what it's like to go through what they're going through. So I asked him to join me and to talk about it, and he said he was all for it if it was meant to help people. So just a really quick nutshell, we started dating in 2003. We were married by 2005, and how many years later?
14 or so.
This year it'll be 14 years we've been married. So let's just jump right into it, hey?
Okay. Good.
So Colin, when we were first dating and I told you that I could see dead people, what did you think?
At first I didn't really have an opinion on it. I just knew that I've never felt it. I've never seen it, dealt with that stuff. I've heard stories growing up that...
Did you think I was crazy?
Everybody's crazy.
Come on, be honest.
No, it wasn't too worried about it. So I just kind of, okay, whatever. I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't think I was going on this big journey of, doing talk shows and stuff like that and talking to people. But it just... whatever, I liked it and I was sticking around. So see where it went.
Thanks. So what was it? So after we got married and everything, what was it like being married to me before we knew that I was medium?
Oh, it was rough.
Don't hold back or anything, Colin.
I'm not. The interesting thing was at home when it was just the two of us, nothing was going on because she wasn't feeling strange things going on. Things weren't happening. So it was very normal relationship, but then we would get around parties and large groups of people, and then it would get very stressful and things like that. So there was a very night and day difference between Sarah with me and Sarah around everybody else. And it was tough, but we got through it. And the good times were much better than the bad times. So
yeah, that's good. At least you stuck around. Do you think I'm a medium now?
I do think you're a medium now, yes. Yeah.
What made you believe? What made you change your mind?
It was a lot of things. Mostly it's a lot of small things that normally you would call a coincidence, but when you're with somebody like Sarah, those coincidences, those unexplainable things happen daily, sometimes many times a day. And if you're just trying to explain them off as coincidences, you have to start believing in something, or else you're just going to go crazy, or you have to stick your head in the sand really deep, because it just won't. Life wouldn't make sense if you denied so many things every day from happening that just couldn't be a coincidence.
Aw, you're so sweet. I love you.
That's good.
So what's it like being married to me now? Is it okay?
It's amazing. Now that we know what's going on, we know what the triggers are, what things happen, why things are happening the way they are, and we've through learning about it, we've learned ways to deal with it and manage it. And learning about it, because I've gone on the journey with Sarah, that I was able to learn what she's going through and how to help. And sometimes when I would get upset or whatever, now I'm like, well, I know why it's happening, and I also know how to solve that problem. And then we can get around it and move on. And sometimes, parties that we would be leaving, we're able to step away for a few minutes, talk, I remind her to ground, cut her cords, whatever. And then we go back in and finish the night off. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I actually want to go back to the, do you believe I'm a medium now? Do you remember, is there a specific point or time or reading that I shared with you? If I share readings with Colin, by the way, they are kept anonymous and they are like very little snippets. But was there one in particular that really started making you believe that, holy shit, my wife talks to dead people. This is real.
I think actually more for you, because you didn't believe them quite often and you didn't trust yourself in what you were doing. And in supporting you, I would remember certain things that you would forget. neat things that you would tell me about. So I would bring it up. I guess the biggest one that helped you was the bluebird.
Yes.
Do you want to tell them about the bluebird?
No, well, I mean, I told it last before, okay. But basically what it was, and it really truly was a turning point for me. And I think it was a nice thing that Spirit gifted me, not just to my client, but to me, because anytime I doubted myself, my family would simply say bluebird, my entire family, not just Colin, but I was giving a reading to a wife who lost her husband and her adult children who lost their father, obviously. And long story short, he kept telling me, say bluebird to my wife. And I was like, no, we're not there yet. We're doing this. And he's like, say bluebird. I was like, no. And he effing say bluebird to my wife. So I was like, okay. So I said bluebird. I was like, I'm not sure exactly what's going on or why he's so insistent, but he needs me to say bluebird to you. And she started crying and and her daughters were confused. They're like, well, what's with the word? And she pulled her wedding rings off and she said, my daughters don't even know this, but within the band, within her wedding band, he had engraved the word bluebird. And it was their special bond that was a secret between the two of them. And there was no way I could have read that off of body language, off of, culture or age or anything like that. It was an incredible moment. I think the one that you always tell me that was the teapot one, but I never remember that one. You do.
Okay, so, the teapot. She was talking about a green teapot with 3 saucers, 3 cups, arranged in a triangle. And she's like, what's with this? And the girl that she was talking to didn't understand really until she realized it was on the wall of her grandma's house. And if you think about it, there's always 4 teacups and tea saucers. So why was it 3 that Sarah brought up? That's, kind of out of the blue. And then, if you think about it, okay, well, if the lady had English accent, well, chances are pretty good her grandma's going to be drinking tea. But she wasn't English and anything. So, there wasn't anything that was telltale signs. So it was, and the fact that she said it was white and green, and, most teapots that I've seen are usually blue and white.
Oh, so,
cool. Just little things like that. And actually, some of my friends would, the construction workers and stuff like that, they tend not to be the most open-minded people. She's just reading body language and stuff like that. I said, if she was reading body language with that much specificity, she could go to Vegas and play a game of cards.
We'd be millionaires.
We wouldn't be doing this because we'd be set for life. Because she wouldn't just say she wouldn't know if they have a good hand. She would know what they have in the hand. She would know exactly what cards they're playing with. So, and obviously it doesn't work that way when we play cards because sometimes I beat her. So
yeah, we play crib generally together, and he kicks my butt 9 times out of 10. I have kicked his butt, and I've actually skunked him twice in 14 years, and I feel like that's an accomplishment.
She practices online then.
Oh, don't give my secrets away. So how do you know? So when we're like at a party or even like in the house or shopping or anything like that, how do you know I'm connecting to spirit? Or how do you know someone's bugging me?
Your eyes are down and they're kind of darting around. They're not looking at anybody. And then you're usually fidgeting. Your hands are fidgeting at the same time and then we've talked about that. So you know that you do that because you can see people, the dead people behind the people that they're there to talk to and stuff. So you try not to make eye contact so they don't know. So I see that, and you get quiet. Sometimes you get really loud.
Do you mean louder than I am now?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, so we do that, and there's just a lot of the body language changes. So that it can be, like I say, you can slow down, you can speed up, you get louder, you can get quieter,
right,
and stuff. So it's generally just a change in personality and stuff that I can tell. So, and then according to what's going on, I can tell if, you need me to rescue you or just let it go. So.
He's a big, goofy knight in shining armor for me. I love him. So everything that we've been through and everything like that, we didn't talk about this question before, but I am going to ask it to you. If someone, well, I guess we kind of did. If someone was standing in front of you and saying, oh my God, my wife is going through this. Actually, before I go there, Was it so? Obviously, all the courses that I took and the supplies that I bought and the books I bought. I mean, it cost a lot of money, a lot of money. What did it like while I was spending it? And obviously, you didn't believe fully back then. What made you go, all right, it's worth the investment. Let her spend the money. And I mean, we weren't rolling in the money. So what made you say it's okay, go and spend what you need to spend to figure this out?
Well, I think at the time, the first course that we paid for wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
And we knew something major was going on because you had gone through a major shift. Before, things were kind of in the shadows, in the back of your mind and affecting things, but they were coming to the forefront and we needed to solve the problem. That's what we started off at, was just trying to deal with what was going on.
Which was panic and anxiety.
Yeah. And it was very difficult on our marriage. So we're trying to figure out what was going on. And through that, we found out that she was intuitive and empath people. And stuff. Yeah. So we, I guess we got you into the course just so you could figure out about it, learn it. If you have a problem and you don't face it, you don't accept it, you don't learn about it, the problem's always going to be there. So I figured let's learn about it. But the more you learn, the better you got, and the more part of your life it was. And I think too, I saw a change in you, and I want to support you and I want to make you happy. So when I saw something that was making you happy, even if I didn't believe it, if it made you feel better, who am I to say that's I don't believe it, so you're just stupid? Well, that's not what, that's not a loving husband's action. So, if I let you go through it and you did it and it turned out to be all a bunch of lies, then, well, whatever, we'd get past that and move on and cut our losses. But it's turned into something amazing, and I'm glad I did.
Oh, thanks. That's nice of you, because I know it was a lot of investment, and I mean, it was really hard for me because I was like, oh my God, we're spending all this money on me. And even though the first few courses weren't all that like tight on the pocketbook, it was still like and time and commitment and gas, because it was a long drive for me to get there and stuff like that. But I went to change it for the world. So I guess I'll ask these questions first, and then I'll ask the big one that I want to ask you. But do you still find it challenging? And be honest.
I think we all have our own challenges. If you've got things that you're experiencing that I don't, but I've learned how to read them and stuff. And I need to be a little more aware, I think, maybe than some husbands would, of what's going on with their wife. But I think I would rather have that challenge than have a wife that is, not fulfilled, not, feeling that she's missing something in her life that she needs, or if I was doing something that I didn't want to do, that would be a challenge. So I think it's just good knowing what we're doing and supporting it. So
yeah. So when I have like my panic and anxiety, you don't find it stressful or anything. You just kind of go, man, I know how to deal with this. This is normal.
Yeah, it becomes life. Like I've never raised a kid. That's a challenge. Like I don't care if you've raised one, you raised three. It's a challenge, and I don't think this is nearly as difficult as that. You can't deny that you have a kid. So your husband has to support you, or your wife has to support the fact that you have a kid. But in this, I guess the question is, I don't see it, I don't feel it, I don't smell the dirty diapers, but I know they need to be changed. So.
Are you saying I have dirty diapers that need to be changed, honey?
Metaphorically, sure.
Well, I'm just flicking my hair.
There you go.
So we talked. We did touch base a little bit on it already. But what is like? I guess this is more for me. But I want to ask you, like, how do you support me now? How do you find the best way to support me? When, God, I feel like I'm so self-centered because I feel like this show is all about me, but really it's about you.
Show.
Yeah, but it's also about us. But like, so what things were you tried and didn't work versus what works now when I'm just like, because it must be incredibly frustrating for you when you come home and I'm laying on the couch and I'm just like, I don't know, it's for dinner. I'm tired. So like, what do you do now that?
To support you?
To support me, I guess. Yeah. Let's talk about me some more.
Yes. at the end of the day, I realized a long time ago that something that works for me to get me through hard times in life is love, patience, and understanding. You can't yell at somebody when you're thinking about how much you love them. If you're patient, you're going to take time to breathe, count to 10, whatever. And then the understanding is, what are they going through? And if you understand what somebody's going through, it's really hard to be angry with them. So, it's got to be second nature to me, where I run through those three things in about half a second. And it puts me into the understanding phase. Like, okay, well, I don't understand why, you haven't done anything today. You've been home, whatever, what's going on. And then when we talk about it and I find out that, you went live and, you're supposed to go live for 45 minutes and you've been on there for 2 hours, you're going to be tired. So I just have to, okay, well, that's what it is. And we move on. And on
that note, you always seem to come home if I've been live for way too long. You always seem to come home and I'm like, oh crap, guys, I have to get off live. Colin's going to know that I've been on for like 2 hours. Now I haven't done 2 hours for a really long time, and then I always see people's comments being like, haha, Colin's home.
Yep.
Colin's going to know. So, yeah.
Another way is, we talk on the phone quite a bit and all through the day and stuff. And I can tell by her voice what's going on. And, sometimes she'll be like, hi, when you coming home? I'm like, I need pizza, don't I? And, you just know, okay, just find out pizza, I'll pick one up on the way. And
yes, I am a Hawaiian pizza. I like chicken and pineapple. I know that some people think pineapple on a pizza is terrible, but I love it.
It's good. Tomatoes are vegetable or fruits, so pineapples are fruit.
So when it's time to kick my butt and stuff like that. So
yeah, so it's just the biggest thing is paying attention. Just I pay attention to you, and you pay attention to me. You know what I need at certain times, so I try to repay that by paying attention to you and knowing what you need, and we support each other in different ways. I've got a lot of energy. I can work a 12-hour shift 6 days a week and come home and still have energy. Sarah can't do 60 hours a week. It's not with what she does. It's too hard. So I can't expect her to be where I am, and she can't expect me to do some of the things she does or whatever. So, I need some help with my computer. Sarah's there, right?
So what's the biggest piece? I mean, we've talked a lot about how you've been on this journey with me and how maybe you didn't understand it, but you still would rather support me than not. But did I ask you? Why did you? No, I don't think I asked you this. Why did you decide to stay married to me knowing that it wasn't going to be a typical marriage, besides loving me? That's a big one. But why?
I was already invested into this thing for so long. It's like, let's just see where she rides out.
You just wanted to ride my coattails. Let's just be honest.
Well, yeah, that's actually my answer. I've always known I was going to be famous. I didn't know why. I didn't know how. I just knew I was going to do great things. And after a certain period, I realized it's because I was married to Sarah. That's how I'm going to be famous and help the world and do good things.
Oh, you're so cute.
Being here to help you. So,
but honestly, like knowing that I would always have, even though we know what's going on and I have, we have panic, I get the anxiety. I mean, just this past week, I got hit with it really hard. There's a couple of other times where I think we've actually had to leave a movie theater because I couldn't handle it. We've left, I loved the opera and the orchestra. We had to leave that at one time because I couldn't handle it. So knowing those type of things, and now we don't go to games together, we don't go to concerts together, knowing all of that, what made you decide, again, besides loving me, that it was worth knowing that we were never going to have that typical marriage and that maybe we were going to have a little bit of a tougher time because of other things that we were dealing with?
Geez, way to go with that one. It's every relationship has its problems, and it doesn't matter if the problems that we have or that you bring into our relationship. I obviously bring problems as well. And
yes, let's not forget those.
Nobody is without baggage. Nobody is without fault. Nobody's without problems. And anybody that thinks they are should probably buy themselves a mirror. it's true. So I would be trading one set of problems in that I know for another set. And what I said before is the good stuff far, far outweighs the bad. The first day we met, you laughed and, your big smile. And I was just like, you know what? That's the one for me. So
I didn't know that.
So I just... Yeah, why would I trade that in for something else, right?
Yeah.
I got an old pickup truck that doesn't run, and I love that truck. Eventually, it's going to run, right? So it's just it's
first I'm wearing diapers. Now you're comparing me to an old truck.
Hey, anybody's had we're talking to men here, right?
Right, that's
they
true.
know they got an old truck. They got that old motorbike sitting in the garage. They're like, one day it's going to be running. It's. You don't just toss things away for something different, hoping it's better. The grass is always green on the other side until you get to the other side. Then you're there, and the grass is green on the other side. Well, you just came from there. So, just, I guess this comes down to gratitude, right? Be grateful for what you have. Enjoy the good things of it. The bad stuff kind of works itself out. And then if the bad stuff is so bad you can't deal with it, well, then sometimes you got to go. But
you got to hit the road in that old truck that's not working.
That's right. So it's, I guess it comes down to the good far outweighs the bad.
So what would you tell we've talked a lot about this and everything, and we've touched a lot, but if, like I said, if someone came to you and said, dear God, my wife thinks that she talks to dead people, and I don't know, this is too hokey for me, it's too woo-woo for me, I'm just like crazy, what would you tell them? Like, what would you say as a way to encourage them to go, hey, it gets so much better? Well, at least I hope it did anyways.
It did. So a couple things about it. One of the big ones is if supporting your wife through this is going to make her feel better, is it really taking away from your marriage? Like if she was devoting 50 hours a week, in the evenings and you're never going to see her again for a long time, that might be too much. But if it's 1 or 2 nights a week and it's making her feel good.
But wait, I know you told me not to interrupt you, but maybe it's not too much, but maybe you need to vocalize, hey, this isn't going to work. Can we compromise, right? Yeah. Sorry. Now go ahead. I won't say another word. You told me not to interrupt and I've been interrupting you the whole time.
That's fine. So if it's going to make your wife happy to do these things and to go around people and understand what she's going through and what she's feeling, then why would you want to stop that? If she goes to the gym and it makes her feel better, she's not waking up with her back is sore and she has bad sleeping problems, but if you go to the gym, she can get through that stuff. Going to the gym is a great thing. Well, this is a lot like that. It's just, finding a way to work through problems, make yourself feel better, more accepted. So, sometimes it's the camaraderie. Sometimes, especially if they're a housewife and they're not getting out, 1 or 2 nights a week to go out with some like-minded people, might just give her that release and some friendship to build off of.
Is our marriage better?
Our marriage is much better because of it. Yeah.
But not just because I'm a medium, but I think it also pushed us onto a path of understanding energy together and understanding how not to take things so personally and understanding how to ground, because we both ground. Like we both ground now. We both understand chakras. And let's be honest, if we had, back in 2003, 4, 5, if we were told, did you cut your cords? Did you clean your chakras? Both of us would have been like, what the H is going on? Like, this is just crazy. So I just, we're running out of time, which is great. Well, it's been fun chatting with you. But, I think the biggest thing that was important, I don't know if you'll feel about this, but I think the biggest thing that was important that kept you supporting me was I involved you in what was happening. And let me be honest, I had no clue that my husband did not believe in what I did until much later. I had left my job by the time I realized that he didn't actually believe it when what I did when I first started. But the change has been amazing and everything. And I love you for letting me do post things on live when you have no idea that I'm doing it. I love letting me bombard you into coming on my show and everything. So we've got just a few seconds left, but I love you for that. Thank you. Thanks for walking the journey with me. Do you have any last things you want to say? We have 30 seconds. No, you don't.
Nope.
Okay. Love and light, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Not with him, but
Have a good night.
bye, guys.